Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier with another quick show for you here while Cody is out moving and on vacation. We'll be back with the Final Takes Friday live here for you on Friday. But for today, Cody, we're going to go through some bold predictions. Bold predictions for the 2025 season. You want to get it kicked off?
I'll get it kicked off. I'll go first and foremost. We're going to the defensive side of the football to a guy that had a slow start to the 2024 season, and he's going to come in 2025 guns blazing. He had 14 sacks in 2023 for UTSA. He had 5.5 for Texas, according to SportsReference.com. I'm going to go ahead out on a limb and say Trey Moore not only does double-digit sacks, that's a given, maybe. For me, I think he's going to do it, but he's going to lead the team in sacks. He's going to outproduce Colin Simmons and anybody else. Anthony Hill's going to get some sacks himself, but Trey Moore is going to lead the Texas Longhorns in sacks this year on his way to being a first-round pick.
All right. I have two that have a little bit to do with Oklahoma. Can I put these out? Does it have to be Texas?
No, it's just fair. I mean, it's a Texas show, but who cares?
Okay. My first bold prediction is something I've talked about before here on the show, but I think that Oklahoma is undefeated coming in to the Red River Shootout, and from the Red River Shootout on, does not win a single game for the rest of the season. I think that they'll be in it, but I think it'll be something where I think that there will be a point in time during the beginning of the season wherever John Mateer, their quarterback, is at like the top of the Heisman odds.
Top of the Heisman and ranked top 10?
Yes. And things and then after that, the bottom's going to fall completely out for the second half of the season, and they don't win a single game. So that's my first bold prediction. And the other bold prediction is that Mateer is going to be, during that time, be talked about like he's the next huge thing.
Baker. He's Baker.
Yeah. So that's my first one, kind of two that are there together.
Two-pronged. I like it. All right. My second one's going to be DJ Campbell takes a big step forward after seeing his high school recruiting classmate, Kelvin Banks, go top 10 to the Saints this last year. DJ takes a massive step forward. He's a first-round pick after posting not one, not two, not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, but 10 80-plus deep dig grades from Alex Dunlap this season. 10.
That's gonna. I mean, that's as much as Banks last year. How many did Banks get last year? I graded him at 80+. Let's see. 80+ point games, historical record. And what that is, for anybody that might not have watched during the season, that's basically when you're grading at 80+, you're gonna get drafted, and sometimes really, really high. Kelvin Banks last year, he had an 185.33, 185, 184.96, 183 or 182.86. So that's what we're at 4.
Yep.
182.625, 182.416, 182.07. So that's 7. 181.36. So that's 8. 181.23. So that's 9. He only had 9 in the regular season.
Give him one more in the playoffs, I bet.
I'm sure.
10.
Yeah. All right. So for this, we're counting playoff and SEC championship and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, for that take, yes, he's going to get 10 off the entire season.
Okay. How about I tell you, has there ever been where there's been 4 Heisman Trophy finalists that are all quarterbacks? It's probably something you could ask Gronk.
I'm looking on the internet. So let's see, quarterbacks.
I'll ask AI.
There was 4 in 2018. Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Dwayne Haskins. Well, there's only 3 that went. So there was those 3. Kyler, Tua, and Haskins.
But isn't the Heisman, don't they invite 4 finalists, or do they invite 3?
Well, for most classes, they have 4 on here. One class, like Lamar, Baker, Jabril Peppers, Deshaun, and Dede Westbrook, they invited 5.
2022 had Stetson Bennett, Max Duggan, CJ Stroud, and Caleb Williams.
There you go. That was the last one they had 4.
So 2022, thank you, Grok. I think it's another one of those. I think that there's 4. I think that these quarterbacks, I think that there's 4 Heisman Trophy finalists, and I think they're going to be Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Lenora Sellers, and not Garrett Nussmeier.
And not Drew Aller?
And not Drew Aller.
It's going to be a free ball.
No.
Lagway. Ooh. I like that.
It's going to be a good year for quarterbacks in college football, man.
The NFL needs it. You brought up LSU with Nussmeier. I'm going to stay there. I'm going to say Texas loses to LSU in the SEC title game. But they beat Clemson in the national championship.
Oh, I mean, I think people will take that. Pull the old Ohio State from this last year.
Mm-hmm.
You think
what? Did they lose the Big Ten championship?
Oh, well, I mean, they lost their biggest game at the end of the season to Michigan, right?
They might have lost the Big Ten championship.
And then Oregon, Ohio State. Oregon was ranked ahead of Ohio State.
Ohio State didn't even go to the Big Ten championship. That's what it was.
Was it Oregon and Penn State?
Yeah, it was Oregon, Penn State. I forgot. That's Ohio State didn't even go because they lost to Oregon earlier in the year. That's what it was. I was like, my brain is like, why?
What I'm saying is the end of season heartbreak.
Yeah.
Followed by it doesn't fit exactly because it doesn't involve a championship, but end of season heartbreak followed by complete redemption and going to win a natty.
Well, they'll be just like this year, right? They go and they lose to Georgia, and everyone's like, "Damn!" Right? It's like if that happens next year, people are gonna be like, "Man, again?"
Yeah.
And then you go win the championship.
Is this even that bold to take? Christian Clark RB1?
Yeah. What do you mean? Is that bold to take? You got 2 starters in front of him.
Yeah, but I think the Christian, and I mean RB1 stats.
Yeah, no, I know. You're talking about the 2024 starting running back and the 2023 starting running back in the room.
Yeah.
And this guy's going to have the best stats.
And I have 2 reasons why. Three really. One, I think that for one, I'm not buying the fact that CJ Baxter is just. I mean, I'm totally open to him being fine for fall camp, but I'm not baking that in yet. I'm not baking it in yet. I think that Trey Wisner showed us last year that there were at points where he can be very good and at points where he can be pretty limited, right? With Christian Clark, I know he's coming off an injury, but he arguably looked like the best out of all the running backs this spring from everything that we've heard. And it felt like every time I heard about him, it was about him being used in the passing game, him being used on these big wheel routes down the field, all this stuff that kind of reminds you a little bit more of how Jaden Blue was used last season. If the offensive line takes some kind of step back as far as what they're able to do, as far as giving these running backs blocking yards for them, right? Making them to where they're having to, if they're not as good a run blocking unit, right? If these running backs are going to have to depend on yards created, I am not sure that Trey Wisner is the horse I want to bet on as far as being a yards created type of guy in a traditional run game, which might lead to them needing to go just a little bit more often than usual to using these running backs as an extension of their run game through passing to them. And if that's the case, I like Christian Clark. I think he's got the skill set to be able to flourish and that kind of thing. Whereas I'm not sure that Trey Wisner is the kind of guy who you want to be just jamming between the tackles over and over and over again for 17 attempts in a game. I'm not sure that that's his. He's a creative runner with really good vision whenever things are blocked up real well in outside zone. And I'm not sure if I just like him as a between the tackles compiler and grinder. So I'll say Christian Clark. Statistic wise, RB1. And while I realize it's not likely, the show is bold predictions.
It's fun. It's fun. It's bold. It's fun as hell. I'll go with a guy that has 456 career receiving yards, but already has more receiving touchdowns than his predecessor, Mr. Whittington, who has 5 career receiving touchdowns. DeAndre Moore has 7. DeAndre Moore has 1,000 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns this year, which would vault DeAndre Moore from 95th all-time to 20th all-time in receiving yards at the University of Texas and give him 17 touchdowns, which would vault him into 7th place by himself.
Why do you, I mean, here, I don't hate DeAndre Moore. I think he's fine. But why do you love him so much?
I think you hate him.
I don't hate him. I really don't. I think he's good. But like you legit think he's like great. And I'm curious, like what if you were having to give an eval on him to somebody who didn't watch or like, what would you tell him? Like, what would you say his superpower is?
I think he's got dependable hands. I think he's quietly, sort of like Golden, quietly, insanely fast. I think he does everything in the middle and short quadrants that you want a receiver to do. He reminds me a lot of Emeka Egbuka. I think he's built like he kind of comes off like he might be a slender guy, but he's the archetype, which on the Roster Watch show, I talk about all the time. I'm like, I love the archetype. That's maybe what it is the most, is that he fits the archetype, which is the 5'10" to 6 foot, 190 to 205, and he's super fast and he's dynamo. Like that's just my bread and butter at the receiver position, and he kind of fits that. And in this offense, I think with Arch especially, and I know I've been pounding the table for 2 years, but with Arch this year, I think he's got the potential to go dynamo.
Not best
hater.
Best non Arch Manning statistics at quarterback is KJ Lacey. Is that bold?
I'm confused.
So if we're talking about the best statistics among the quarterbacks, just the quarterback room, right?
Okay.
At the end of the season, and you take Arch Manning out of it.
So basically, who gets the most work?
Yeah, or who does the most with what, and the little amount of work, hopefully, knock on wood, in the mop-up duty that they're going to be taking part in. I think from what we heard, KJ Lacey played really well this spring. Trey Owens had a down spring. I mean, KJ Lacey outplayed Trey Owens. And, dude, I don't care. I know what everybody says about, why – what does it tell you about what they think about those two guys for them to bring in Matthew Caldwell? But here's the thing, man. I wouldn't watch Matthew Caldwell. This guy's not really that good.
Yep.
And so and look, maybe he's got a great head on his shoulders and he comes and works with Sark, and I'm just totally eating my words because he comes in the game and he's just, third quarter throws for, 190 yards and 2 touchdowns starting out from like 448 in the third quarter through the rest of the game. Right. But I kind of don't think so. And I think KJ Lacey's good, undercover sneaky baller. And that'll be mine. You got one final bold prediction?
I got one final bold prediction. I don't know if it's bold because it's been consistent the last couple of years. I'm going to go all coordinators and co-coordinators stay after this season, running it back with Arch in 2026. So that includes Dwayne Akina, Jeff Banks, Kyle Flood, Chris Jackson,
Oh, you're wrong.
PK, Milwee, Nansen. They're all back.
I think if the defense has a good year, I think you can kiss Nansen goodbye.
I couldn't find a spot for him. I couldn't think of one.
What do you mean?
Where's he going to go?
He'll go be part of the. He's
going to go be the head coach for what? Fresno State? Or are you going to stay and win a national championship with Sark?
Well, but he could be a defensive coordinator on his own. Why would you if he's?
But he's already co-DC. This is the problem. I ran into this. I'm sitting here thinking through it, and I'm like, who's going to leave? Is PK going to leave first, or is Nansen going to leave first?
There's always something. You don't think Nansen would leave if something opened up at like Bowling Green or something to be the head coach?
I don't think if I think no. I think if he knows, I mean, especially here's the bottleneck to this thing is Arch. Arch is going to be back next year, and all of these guys are going to go, well, we either just won a title or we just lost a title, and we're going to get to go again to potentially win a second straight title. We're all here. We're all doing it. And then as soon as Arch is gone, it's a frenzy.
I can't believe that we got through bold predictions, and when Arch Manning's on the team, and the boldest prediction would just be to say that Arch goes pro. But that's like too bold.
It's because we both know better.
Yeah, and now you know better. All right, you can find us on X at Cody Carpentier at Alex Dunlap NFL. Back for a Final Takes Friday live. So looking forward to all that stuff. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to Poncho Outdoors. Thanks to Texas Beef Traders. Thanks to MyPerfectFranchise.net, of course. Thanks to Specs, Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. Love you guys. Thanks so much for being here this week. We'll see you tomorrow. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.